Well, interestingly, I went to, there's an organisation called Artemis for female executives, senior women. It's all about supporting women. And they asked exactly that same question. Have you ever been in this situation? Without doubt, 100% of the women in the room said, yes, I often have found myself being the only female in the room. And it can be incredibly intimidating, because and it can be, you have to sort of remember and go, I've got to be true to myself. Like going back to what we were saying earlier, I can't try and be like a male leader. I have to be the female leader that I am.
Love that.
But you have to sort of, you have to check yourself with that. So it is really, really lovely to see a lot more females becoming parts of these groups to support each other. But interestingly, when I was running the club, when I was MD years ago, we didn't used to do sort of female lunches and things. And somebody said, oh, we should do one. And I said, absolutely not. We don't need that. We don't need to create a separate space for us. We can, we're quite happy sitting in a dining room with, or even if it's all men, and hold our own. We just, I was sort of a bit like, actually the power comes from not needing that. And it was completely wrong. The power comes from creating that space and creating that sort of environment where you go, look, let's just be female founders together and support each other, and then sort of recharge the batteries and go back into into those sort of more male-dominated areas.
Can I ask if Derek and I were flies on the wall in that room, like what is that? What is that kind of magic sauce that gets created when you're together?
Well, I tell you what, every single time you come in and everyone's all smiles and hello, or, getting to know each other, and the volume level and the energy in that room builds and builds and builds and builds. And every single time you end up, sort of going, let's go on holiday together. we're just so supportive of each other and each other's champions, and let's go into business. And so you start off sort of being a little bit wary. But the volume and that ability to sort of want to help each other just builds throughout the session. It's really, really good fun.
And out of interest, sorry, I'm kind of hogging the here a little bit, but I'm really curious. When you're in the men's forum,
no, you can't come to the next one.
But when you're in the men's forum and you do the same thing, and you're an observer, is there a difference? Is it what do you notice?
Yeah, it's not the energy in the same way.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's much more level with the males in terms of that energy. They sort of come in already pretty confident, and there's definitely, with the sort of, if it's predominantly a male group, there is that sort of care, and at the end, I think there's a real appreciation when someone has been vulnerable. There is a real sort of like, God, that thank you so much for sharing that, quite personal challenge that you're going through. And I think sometimes that's, there's almost like a relief around that, or a sort of a respect that someone has been that vulnerable. Whereas in the female founder forums, it's almost the other way. Like people come in and go, I don't know about this and I don't know how to do that. They're already sort of very vulnerable, very open. And then at the end, people are going, but what are you talking about? You're brilliant at that. And you said you did that. So you're way better at this than you think you are. So I think it's sort of a little bit of a reverse in a way.